Like, oh my fucking god. It's a gnome skiing? Jesus Christ. Hi, I'm Ariel. You're watching She Wants the Diction, and today, do I have a book haul for you all? The floor around me is just surrounded with books right now, and I have been a thrifting machine over the past, I would say like couple of months. Like, it's been my absolute obsession, like absolutely fixated on it. So I have a shitload of books to show you today. And I feel like I've kind of tried to create like categories. Like I have SFF, science fiction fantasy. I have books by Black authors, Black classics. I have LGBTQ plus books. I have some art books, poetry. I have a couple nonfiction and just a couple random things, and then a shitload of books on feminism. So there's gonna be kind of a mix of literally everything in this. Hopefully I don't get too rambly, so this video isn't super long, but yeah, there's gonna be something for everybody. So hope you guys are doing all right. Grab a drink or something so you can chill and relax, because this might be kind of a longer one. I'm well aware I have not been giving you guys my usual book content, and for that, I'm sorry. To be honest with you, the reason for that is I've been having so much trouble finishing books lately. Like, I can't tell you how many books I've started, probably like 10 to 15, and just they petered out. And so only just now am I getting back into like the flow of reading and stuff like that, because like I said, thrifting kind of took over for a while, which I think is good and healthy, you know. I don't want to be too obsessed with just like one single thing. All right, first thing I'm going to show you guys is the poetry books. I've got Beowulf, a new translation. It is the bilingual edition. I saw this when it came out. I wasn't really sure, like, I don't really get what it means by bilingual. Is it like the original, whatever it was written in, like Old English? Would it be Old English? I don't really know. I don't know a ton about this. All I know is it's an epic poem and it's famous. And then yesterday I picked this up for 50 cents. It's Mary Oliver, A Thousand Mornings, which, you know, any poetry book that's 50 cents, like, I'm gonna grab it. And Mary Oliver, if you've never read her before, her style is very like simplistic. It's very nature focused. I believe she's one of the best-selling poets in the US. I already started this. I started in the car a little bit, probably a third of the way through it, and I mean, it's all right. The next one I picked up is kind of more of a nonfiction about poetry, and it's The Making of a Poem, a Norton Anthology of Poetic Forms. And this I saw when I was researching like nonfiction books kind of about poetry and the craft of poetry. And I believe this is gonna kind of take you through all of the different forms and then like examples. So we've got, you know, the villanelle, we've got the sonnet, the ballad, the ones I've never even heard of, heroic couplet, blank verse, so you kind of get the idea. So this is going more into like the craft and genres of poetry. The next one I've got, I literally just bought because of the title, but it's called Reflections on a Gift of Watermelon Pickle and Other Modern Verse. And as you can see, it's an older book. I like the picture on the front, and it's got a little note in there. I love when there's like stuff, I find stuff in books. This is a scholastic book, so I'm thinking it's more of like a kid's book, but I'm not entirely sure. And I really like the back because it has a little excerpt of a poem, and it's How to Eat a Poem. Don't be polite, bite in. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I just like the title in the back is what made me have to buy this. Okay, the next one I've got is this Every Man's Library Pocket Poets, and it is, I believe it's W.H. Auden, which never read him before. He's one of those classical poets that I don't really know. But the reason I bought this is because like these little books, like, I don't know if the scale is showing, but they're super tiny. They're super adorable. I read another one, like, well, a little bit of it, that was like conversation pieces. And I looked it up because I was like, this book is adorable. And it had like a whole series of these little tiny books. And so when I saw this one, I was like, I don't even know who this poet is, but like, I feel like I have to get it because like these little tiny books are just freaking adorable. So yeah, there's like a whole series of these little adorable poetry books, and just look how pretty that is. Like, look how cute this is. Like, imagine you had all of these and they're just like lined up on a shelf. Like, I don't want to be that person that like does it for the aesthetic, but like literally the aesthetic. I don't know if it's gonna focus on the list, but there's a ton of poets in this collection. And they also have a lot of books that are like based around a theme. Like the book that I was reading, Conversation Pieces, was kind of poems that like talked to each other, or like were about the same subject, but, or like responses to different poems. Like, I just thought that was really, really cool and interesting. Okay, the next one I got was kind of a random buy. It's Corruption by Camille Norton, and this is like an individual poetry collection. Don't know who this is, don't know anything about it. It was just like, I believe it was 99 cents, so I was like, why the hell not 99-cent poetry collection, you know? I feel like in the thrift store you can really luck out with like poetry, because I feel like most people don't read poetry, so most people don't buy it, so it's usually like pretty freaking cheap to pick up. So I don't know, just benefits me. Okay, the next one I got kind of looked like it was printed by maybe an sort of an indie or smaller press, just like based off of the like quality of the book. Like this doesn't seem like it's by a major publishing house. And the back says Pima Poetry Series, but it is Tandem Space, Daughter-Father Poems. So this is a father and daughter writing. I don't know if they take turns or if they're collaborating, but I just thought this was a cool premise for like a poetry collection. You know, obviously the father-daughter relationship has been a lot on my mind, like since my dad's passing. So I was like, this, I don't know, just a lot of things combined, plus like space, even though I don't know anything about bikes. It just made me think like this could be a good read. I think the next category I'm going to show you guys is the queer books. So here we go. First up, we've got a classic. This is Armistead Maupin's Tales of the City, which I don't know if this is like the film or TV cover. Yeah, I guess miniseries. So I've never read this. I don't know if it's good. Don't know anything about it. I just know it's like a classic of queer lit. That's really all I had to know to pick it up. The next book I've got cracked me the fuck up. It is Gay Money, Your Personal Guide to Same-Sex Strategies for Financial Security, Strength, and Success. And first of all, this cover, like, oh my God. But then also like, this is like a dated self-help book. Yeah, 1997, that I just thought would be entertaining to kind of like check out, because I'm one of those people that I just love reading old books and like seeing what was happening at the time. And I think it's interesting because it goes through the different decades, so the gay decade. So it's got the 20s, our extended financial adolescence, the 30s, coaster build, personal career and financial investments, the fabulous 40s, coming out into our own. So it kind of goes through each like decade and then explains like what was going on with like gay finances at the time, which like I thought would be just super interesting. Then I've got yet another classic, this one being fiction. It's called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. And yeah, I don't really know much about this. I think I maybe read the first page and saw something about church, religion, something. So hopefully there's gonna be some commentary on that. We all know I love that. I feel like this cover of like titties being covered by snake is probably gonna give me some, like, I feel like it's gonna give me something good, you know, like it's her eyes, she's promising something. Next, I've got a book called The Beauty of Men. And when I saw this title like on the shelf, I was like, I wonder if that's a gay book, since it's like by, I saw Andrew Holleran and I was like, I wonder if that's a gay book. And then I picked it up and it was like absolutely a gay book. And I'm suspecting that this is probably like a typical like white gay literature, just because I feel like so much of gay literature that's like known is like, you know, gay white men or gay white women. So I don't want to be like super beholden to that, but obviously like, I don't know, like when I find a book randomly, like I'm gonna pick it up. Okay, the next one I've got is a super well-known graphic memoir. It's Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. I didn't really put two and two together that Alison Bechdel invented the Bechdel test, which I believe is like, do two women in a piece of media, do they talk about something other than a man? And like, does the piece of media like pass that test or whatever? But I've just heard a lot about this, and for a couple bucks, I was like, why the hell not? The next one I've got is called Queer 13, Lesbian and Gay Writers Recall 7th Grade, which I think we all know is absolutely painful. 7th grade, I don't think anyone had a good time, and it's especially, I feel like, hard when you're queer and you haven't figured out your identity yet, or like you're going through that like coming out. I think all queer people kind of wish we could write a note to our younger self, so I really feel like this is gonna give me some insight into like what would you tell your younger self. Okay, I guess the next category I kind of want to pivot to is gonna be feminist stuff. So I've got quite a lot here. First up being The Body Project, An Intimate History of American Girls. This is gonna be kind of talking about like dieting, the body, drawing on diary excerpts and media images from 1830 to the present, tracing girls' attitudes towards topics ranging from breast size and menstruation to hair, clothing, cosmetics. So kind of these shifting standards and I guess beauty standards over time, and like how people feel about it. I guess modern girls maybe. And then by modern, I'm guessing this is 90s. Yep, 1997. Next, I've got this Feminism, Opposing Viewpoints. And it's kind of, I've seen the opposing viewpoints before, but basically what it is they take an issue and then I think they kind of assign each person like a different side of the issue, kind of like you would have done in debate. I wasn't in debate, but this is what I believe debate class is in high school. So some of these titles, I would hate to be assigned these, but it's kind of funny. Women should not have the right to vote versus women should have the right to vote. So imagine having to be assigned that essay. Women are weaker than men. Women are as capable as men. So you get all these different issues and then both sides. So I thought that could be kind of interesting. Next, I got some teeny tinies, little paperbacks. This one is Haunting Women, and it's chilling stories of horror by 14 acclaimed women writers. And as you can see, the wallpaper, which we had to read in I believe, freshman college English I believe that's in here. Yeah, anytime I see just an anthology of like women writers, I'm gonna pick it up. Next one I've got, I don't know that I should throw this in the category, but it's Juniper. And I did read the original one, like the first one, which was Wise Child, and it's basically about like a child witch. Actually, I had a video where I talked about this, so I'll link that. I was like, may as well read the sequel, or is it prequel? Next up, I've got Eve's Revenge. Saints, sinners, and stand-up sisters on the ultimate extinction of men. Which makes me laugh. Gonna be some misandrist venting, I believe. So it has all different quotes, kind of talking about how men suck. And, you know, before somebody comes on here and says, I'm man-hating, I believe this is intended to be humorous and amusing, and it's gonna have all these different quotes from women throughout time, you know. And I was listening to a Bell Hooks book recently, and she talks about how in her, like, feminist meetings and stuff, nobody would have more vehement, angry things to say about men than straight women who were having to sleep and marry and live in close proximity with men. Like, you would think it would be the man-hating feminists who would say, you know, the most misandrist things, but it was actually these women who lived very, very closely with men. So I just want to keep that in mind. I don't know why any anti-feminist people would be even on my channel watching this video, but just in case, you know, we don't actually hate men. We hate a lot of the behaviors that the patriarchy has socialized them to. And a lot of the things that are normalized. So yeah. Next, we've got I Am Becoming the Woman I've Wanted, which, what a title. This is the latest in the series of best-selling anthologies, When I Am an Old Woman, I Shall Wear Purple, which I actually have, boom, right there. And if I had my life to live over, I would pick more Daisy. Delves into the sometimes hidden and always powerful feelings that women have about their bodies. So again, this is gonna be another one. Explores coming of age, sexuality, childbirth, physical power, menopause, aging, and much more. Next, we've got kind of an unusual one. It's Third Eye, Women Writings from Karnataka. And I believe this was, I don't want to speak wrongly because I looked it up a couple weeks ago, but I believe it's somewhere in India. And just because I really feel like the only Indian author, like female author that I've read is the author of Nectar and a Sieve, and I really, really love that book. So I was like, why the hell not? I feel like, you know, Indian literature doesn't really get talked about. All right, the next one. She Rises Like the Sun, Invocations of the Goddess by Contemporary American Women Poets. And if this isn't the most, like, hipster ass, like, academic ass shit, like, only me, you know what I mean? Like, only me would see this in the store and be like, oh my God. Okay, maybe not only me, because obviously you all are, oh, it's crunchy. Obviously you all are watching this, but especially ever since I learned that goddesses actually predate gods, because no offense, but like most religions and gods just piss me the fuck off because it's like men, you know what I mean? Like a lot of it seems like an excuse for men to dominate women. All right, the next one I've got is Wise Women and Other Stories. This is by George MacDonald, and I think this is actually by a man. It says, George MacDonald, the great 19th century innovator of modern fantasy, influenced not only C.S. Lewis, but also such literary masters as Charles Williams and J.R.R. Tolkien. So it seems like he was a big influence on fantasy, classic fantasy writers. I guess that really shouldn't have been in the feminism category. Sorry. Next one I've got is literally so random. It's called Soiled Doves, Prostitution in the Early West. And this just makes me think of the character on Westworld that's a prostitute. Then I've got another anthology. It's called Women on War, Essential Voices for the Nuclear Age from a Brilliant International Assembly. And while I do avoid like war novels like the plague, I was like, I just feel like I should buy this because, you know, it's a feminist anthology on a subject that like I don't particularly enjoy reading. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like anything, I'll buy a feminist anthology centered around anything. It doesn't have to be something I necessarily like. And I've got a couple other ones up here that I got. Ecofeminism and the Sacred. And I don't know a ton about ecofeminism, but it does kind of sound like something I would be into. Oh, shit. I took a lot of books off the shelf, so now they're all falling. Okay, this honker. The Prentice Hall Anthology of Women's Literature, which I think I got for like $2 or $3. Like, this boy is thick. Okay, I don't want my plant to fall. And then I've seen this around and decided to pick it up. It's Odd Girl Out, The Hidden Culture of Aggression in Girls. We've got an older book, Women, Folk, and Fairy Tales. This collection of outstanding folk and fairy tales is focused on a unique and special theme. In every story, it is a girl or woman who is the moving force. No passive sleeping beauties here waiting meekly for Prince Charming. No downtrodden Cinderella scrubbing everybody else's floors. This book is peopled with active, intelligent, capable, and courageous human beings who happen to be female. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next category, which I think is gonna be SFF. I will start with this book about pirating. It's called Under the Black Flag, The Romance and the Reality of Life Among the Pirates. Super interesting. I think I read, if not the first chapter, I think it was the introduction, just kind of talking about how it was strange that like pirates are such a thing like in our mythology and just in general when like they were actually like mostly crooks. So it's interesting that we've like, I don't know, romanticized that, because a lot of our conceptions about pirates are apparently incorrect, but I won't know more until I actually finish this. I saw everyone talking about gay pirates online, and I finished the series Our Flag Means Death on HBO, and I thought it was decent, like good. I liked it. There were a lot of kind of just strange things about it. I don't know, like the mood shifts were weird, and the pacing was kind of strange, and the beginning was slow, but I did overall like really like it, and I see why people really love it for like, you know, the queer rep and the writing and like the humor combined with like, I don't know, the more serious plot lines. Like I definitely see why most of the queer people I follow online were like losing their minds for it. So if you're interested, if you're in the mode, the pirate mode, you might want to get your hands on this. The next one I've got is an older one, The Lure of the Unicorn, and I really like unicorns. I don't know. I don't have a justification other than that. This was kind of overpriced. I did pay $10 for it, but considering it's kind of on the rare side, like I saw it going for 30 plus online, I was like, oh, okay, they got me, I have to have it. And it's a book on gnomes, and it's so freaking cute, like a big picture book. And the illustrations, man. I just think gnomes are adorable personally. That might just be me, I don't know. Like, oh my fucking god. It's a gnome skiing? Jesus Christ. Yeah, just too adorable. And then kind of going along with that, I got an illustrated book of castles, because we all know I'm in that fantasy mood lately. And this book also has some fire illustrations. Okay, and then I did get some actual books. So this is The Planet Pirates. And what made me pick it up is it says, this traces the careers of two remarkable women. Like this combined with the like Transformers ass like mecha cover, I was like, okay, I don't even know what this is, but like I'm getting it. And I also got a paperback of Isaac Asimov's Foundation. I've been trying to figure out which of the Foundation books I read, because I remember specifically the one I read in high school I really liked was like a female scientist narrating, which I think is one of the reasons that I really liked it. And then also like the laws of robotics and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember like which one it was. I don't know if it was Foundation or if it was something else, but either way, I picked this up. Again, with the unicorns, I got a little paperback. It is 16 magical tales about the most wondrous of all creatures, unicorns. And this one's a little scary. He's got like a goatee. The Seeds of Time. This is by Kay Kenyon. Cleo Finn is a dive pilot, one of the rare talented professionals capable of guiding a ship into the time stream. But she is walking on the razor's edge of burnout, which no dive pilot has ever escaped, relying on drugs to buy her more missions. I haven't read any sci-fi in a minute, but I have been buying a lot of it, so hopefully I get in the mood soon. But you know, science fiction is kind of something I've loved throughout my life in mini form, so I don't really feel like, you know, I'm like wasting money or time with this. Next one I got is The Once and Future King, which is about King Arthur. Now, I have another book about King Arthur that I actually still haven't read, but I don't know, just because I love the TV series Merlin so much, I like wanted to get a bunch of like King Arthur stuff, just to like read the original legends. Like I do want to do that at some point, it's just I haven't like buckled down and done it yet. So the next one I've got is this anthology of H.P. Lovecraft stories. So even though I didn't like the one Lovecraft thing that I read, I really feel like a lot of like cosmic horror and modern horror and science fiction really originates with a lot of Lovecraft characters. So I was like, maybe as opposed to like a novel, I would like his short stories better. And also just like, I feel like to just familiarize myself with the genre. Next one I got is again going full fantasy, and it's Masters of Fantasy, 31 strange and imaginative tales from the masters in the art of the fantastic. So I just love older books and the covers and such. And then finally, I peeped this. It's the whole set of Becky Chambers, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. It's that series, The Wayfarers, I believe it's called. I saw this for $5, and I was like, all of BookTube talks about this constantly and like raves about it, and I'm like, well, so it's only $5 for the entire series, like brand new, maybe I should just buy it, and hopefully I end up liking it. Hopefully it's not one of those overly like hyped up, popularized things that I end up hating or something, but even if I do, you know, maybe I can like do a giveaway or something of these. Okay, next I got a couple of random books. This is Haruki Murakami, Hardboiled Wonderland at the End and the End of the World. I just really liked this title a lot. I don't believe I've ever read him before, although I hear him talked about a lot. And then the other thing I got is this older book. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it's The Man Who Couldn't Sleep. And I think it's gonna be a science fiction story that's just, yeah, the guy that literally can't sleep. So We'll see what happens. What's he gonna, I mean, if you can't sleep, you kind of die, I'm pretty sure. Like, this is the actual condition that people, like, can't sleep. And so, yeah, humans die of not being able to sleep. So I'm kind of curious, like, where are we going with this? How is this going to be exciting? You know, like, I want to see. I want to know. I feel like this could have gone with sci-fi. I've been looking for a keto cookbook for weeks. And now that me and Adam are off keto, of course, I literally found one the other day. And I was so fucking mad. I was like, I've literally been looking for one at the thrift store. Like, you could find paleo ones all day, but keto ones, I never see them. So I don't know if this one's actually good. I've never made any recipes out of this one, but yeah, I just had to grab it for the next time we go back on keto. This tiny book, it's How to Tie a Scarf, and it's got 33 styles. And since I've been thrifting a lot of scarves lately, I really like scarves. I wanted to get this so I can have a new imagination for tying them. So that's cool. So next, I guess I'll go the nonfiction route. We have this literal textbook because I'm weird. It is called The Sociology of Deviance, Looking Past the Normal World. I just thought this would be interesting because a lot of the categorizations that like I fall into are considered like deviant or were considered deviant throughout some point in history. Like, I feel like queerness obviously has been considered deviant in the past. Being black is deviant to the dominant whiteness of America. I see in here we've got feminist theory, child abuse, loners, gangs, a lot of topics, you know, I like to read on. Next one I've got, because I just finished the HBO series Minx. Like, I've been binging a lot of HBO stuff just because, like, when I pay $15, like, I'm gonna get my money's worth. But so this is like a show set in the 70s, and it's this sort of burgeoning feminist that's trying to get a feminist magazine published, but nobody wants to buy it. And so she ends up going into this kind of strange partnership with like a porn mag seller who's like a dude. And so they make this kind of unlikely pairing, and they're trying to blend like pornography for women with a women's magazine, like a feminist magazine. And so it's kind of them clashing, and like the whole staff and the personality differences. And it's a really, really good show. Like, honestly, I would say, I don't want to like compare shows, but to me it was a better, more consistent, better written show than Our Flag Meets Death. But that's just me personally. A documentary of 15 women who have the best of everything. So this is each 15, this guy's interviewed them, and he's talked about like their different, I'm assuming like office jobs. And I thought it would just be an interesting glimpse into like sort of the work environment aesthetic of the 70s, which we all know. I love me some historical books. I kind of did a similar thing with like reading like Mad Men characters, and I only did one. Don't hate me for never finishing that series, I'm so sorry. But if I ever rewatch Mad Men, maybe I will do another one where I read like a character from a show. So yeah, this was just timely for me. It's called The Girls in the Office. Next one is Born to Run, which I picked up because Adam actually listened to this on audio and said it was really, really interesting, which when he reads a book and finds it interesting, I'm like, okay, let me get this. And I have been a runner throughout my life. So I also picked up Braiding Sweetgrass, which I started and was really, really good, but I have not finished it. As you see, I've tabbed a bunch. And then I've got another honker. I try not to pick up a ton of nonfiction in physical format just because it's usually audio for me. That's the only way I'm gonna get through it, but I thought maybe I could get through this one. It's Far from the Tree. This guy writes about families coping with deafness, dwarfism, Down syndrome, autism, schizophrenia, or multiple severe disabilities. Children who are prodigies, who are conceived in rape, who become criminals, who are transgender. Drawing on 10 years of research and interviews with more than 300 families, Solomon mines the eloquence of ordinary people facing extreme challenges. So this is Parents, Children, and the Search for Identity, which, if you have watched any of my videos on my channel, is all too relevant to me. All right, we are more than halfway through. The last category that I have to show you guys is, I believe, books by Black authors? Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna go through these kind of quickly. This is Mumbo Jumbo by Ishmael Reed. The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, and this is by an African author. It's from this Heinemann African Writers series, which I thought was really cool. I haven't read nearly enough African literature. I've got The Icarus Girl by Helen Oyemi, I believe. And this one is kind of cool because it still has the person who's read it sticky notes. I know some people don't like that, but I've got Zami by Audrey Lorde, which I believe is her autobiography. Yeah, biomythography. Amazing. We love a good portmanteau. Another of Maya Angelou's autobiographies. It's Even the Stars Look Lonesome. We've got a nonfiction with The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. Then we've got Aren't I a Woman? Female Slaves in the Plantation South. This one is not a Black author, but it is a compilation of Black quotes. Next one is Ida B, a novel. I've never heard of this, but it looks to be a book from 2004. We've got a memoir. This is Gal by Ruthie Bolton. Next, we've got The Souls of Black Folk by W.B. Du Bois. This is a pretty well-known classic that I've never read. Then we've got Black on the Block The Politics of Race and Class in the City by Mary Patillo. And we have The Collected Poems of Langston Hughes, which I was so overjoyed when I found this, like for only fucking $3. Like, I love Langston Hughes, first of all. And I just remember reading him in high school and like just adoring it. Like, his poetry is so musical and unpretentious, and I just love him. I believe I bought a copy of this from Barnes & Noble and sent it to my youngest brother. So when I found this, it felt like, you know, very serendipitous, because I don't even have a copy of it myself. And then I've got another Maya Angelou, Letter to My Daughter. And then I've got Harriet Jacobs, A Life. This is The Remarkable Adventures of the Woman Who Wrote Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. And then I've got Invisible Life by Elin Harris. And I picked this up because of the cover. Looks like we're having a threesome moment. And then the back said, a bold and riveting look into the minds of bisexual Black men. And since that right there is such a rare combination in literature, I was like, I'm snatching it. And we've got The Justice Girls, which is another novel, like the author's photo there. And this is another early 2000s, 2001. Then we've got Slave Religion, The Invisible Institution in the Antebellum South, which is another one of those very academic-y, nonfiction type books. Then we've got Breath, Eyes, Memory by Edwidge Danticat, I think is how you say it. And I've never read anything by her, although I have heard a lot about her. Finding Fish, a memoir, which I hadn't heard of. Sidney Poitier's autobiography, which should be interesting. I kind of grew up watching a couple of his movies, and so getting to know more about him as a person, with him being like one of the first like Black Hollywood movie stars, I thought would be really cool. And then finally, I've got some books that I plan on doing a giveaway with. These are ones that I already had, but when I'm out and about and happen to see Black classics on the shelf, I will go ahead and pick them up. And I've been doing this intentionally with the purposes of doing like a Black classics giveaway. And I think I'm going to be doing this one on Instagram. So if you aren't following me on there, you might want to go in the description and click the link. But so anyways, the autobiography of Malcolm X, which I really like this copy because it's bigger than the little paperback that I thrifted, but very nice cover. This is the exact version of Their Eyes Were Watching God I already have, which I really like, with the gold foil, and just because like the picture is accurate. Okay, I also got this version of A Raisin in the Sun with Sidney Poitier on the front. A copy of The Color Purple, which I personally do not like The Color Purple that much, but I want to watch the movie and see if it's any better. And also I do like this cover a lot. Okay, and then the last thing, which I kind of forgot, is a couple of art books. This one is Fresh Fruits, which is kind of a 90s book on Japanese street style, which I guess Fruits used to be some type of magazine where they would take like street photos of like different teenagers and what they were wearing. These books are really cool. I had the first one like in high school when I was super obsessed with like Japanese fashion, and they're literally just photo books, like streetwear looks that you would see. And the thing about this is it's super outdated. Like, there's some kind of really problematic things in like the captions. Like, I believe there's one in here where the guy says that his current obsession is pretending to be a gay man, and I was like, what? Like, this this would never fly nowadays. Or one of them said their current obsession was cutting, and I was like, was there a conversation had after this, or like, what, you thought this was, you just put this in the book? Like, I don't even know. I need context. So I just feel like a lot of this is very dated, but it is really cool. Like, if you're into, I guess, eclectic or really colorful fashion. Like, I think the thing now is like dopamine dressing, which I just found out about. But either way, if you like color, these books are, I was shocked that this was $2 because these books are really, really expensive to get your hands on. I guess because they're not really like in print anymore. So yeah, it can be like 50 to 70 to $30 depending on where to get your hands on these. So this is pretty rare. Like, I was very stoked about this. And I also got a couple books by artists themselves. This one is Diego Rivera, My Art, My Life, which I'm not like a super fan of him just because I think he was abusive to Frida Kahlo, but I also need to do more reading about it. And then I got a couple of Dali's books. This one is Diary of a Genius, which I thought was hilarious. The nerve, you know, to proclaim yourself a genius before you're even dead. And then this other one is The Secret Life of Salvador Dali. And then this one, I really like getting these big picture books lately, but this one is of Greek sculptures, which the guy on the cover is kind of super creepy. Like, his eyes scare me. And then this one is a book of old Victorians. It's called Daughters of Painted Ladies, America's Resplendent Victorians. And I got this off of a website that I found that's like an independent, it's like one woman, and she lists all this stuff like by herself on this website. Like, it's called Thrifty Thrifterson, and I was like, number one, greatest name ever. Number two, Just amazing. Like, amazing that she does everything herself, and like the name of it and like the stuff was great. Yeah. And the only thing about it is you have to order $30 worth of stuff to like get it to be worth it for her to ship the stuff to you, but I just thought it was really cool overall. And this just reminded me of the unit that we had, like the like separate gifted school that I went to. Like, one of the units that we had was on like architecture, and I remember like we were walking around downtown and we would like draw all different aspects of like the houses, and I always thought like old Victorians were just like super cool, especially when they're like colorfully painted. So yeah, I ended up getting this, and you can see the tag still on there. And then maybe you guys can see it. It's this big book on Monet, who obviously like I'm obsessed with. Like, I love Impressionism, like not to be the most basic bitch in the world, but like Impressionism, like my fave. That is probably like, I would dare to say that's probably over 100 books right here. I don't know if it was. I don't know how long this is, but you know, we probably need to cut it off. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.